Hey, welcome into Wednesday. I am Steven, aka Steven Lewis, aka about 1,000 other names, some of which I can't repeat that people call me. Welcome to Life as We Know It. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm at Steven Lewis on air and at Steven Lewis Radio on TikTok. So, Taylor Swift. Today's all about Taylor Swift. And because I was asked a couple of times, and ironically I got asked again today to answer this question. And someone told me a while back I should start telling stories about some of the celebrities I've met. And I was asked who my favorites were. And it's kind of funny because whenever I get asked that question, Taylor Swift obviously comes to mind and pops right into my head. A little bit of background about me. Radio for the longest time. Still do radio, still love it. It's the greatest job in the world. And I also like to talk in the podcast universe about all kinds of things. A great many things, if you will. And Taylor Swift mania has descended on my hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. Everybody is gearing up for all the festivities. There's Taygate happening both days at one of my favorite restaurants downtown, right across from the ballpark, the Holy Grail Banks. If you ever come through Cincinnati, stop in and see Jim and his staff. They are absolutely fantastic. Now, Taylor Swift will be here this weekend to play Paycor Stadium, where the Bengals, where the road to the Super Bowl runs through this year, nonetheless. But Taylor puts on a fantastic show, and I remember the first time I was ever in a Taylor show might be the loudest shrill I have ever heard from a crowd. But let's talk about Taylor Swift for a second, because there are celebrities and people that you come into contact with, that you meet, that are kind of a letdown. They always say the thing, don't ever meet your idols, because there's a good chance you'll get let down. I can honestly say that Taylor is not one of those. And I was never what I would call a Swiftie, and I'm still not what anyone would call a Swiftie, because honestly, Taylor does not write songs that, tug at my heartstrings and don't appeal to me. Does that mean I don't like them? Absolutely not. I do like them. I think they're great. She has a few records that if I'm spinning on the ones and twos, I drop some Taylor in there because it fits. So I like what she does. It just doesn't speak to me in the same way Adele, who's awesome, doesn't speak to me. But Taylor, when it comes to an artist, is just a class act. I can't say enough good things about her. The first time I had the opportunity to meet Taylor was back during the Fearless tour. And I was, obviously, my background leans towards pop radio, but I have since kind of branched out into rock and various other things. But when I was doing pop, Taylor was at the point where she was kind of crossing over from country and becoming a pop star. And we got to meet her on the Fearless tour, and it was this awkward, like she came across as being kind of awkward, but absolute sweetheart of a girl. And it was just a really fun experience to see how things were with her, and when she was still kind of early, and obviously everybody knows the Kanye thing and how she handled that. And while we're on the subject of the Kanye thing, a couple of years ago, when Kanye made a line about her in a song, there was the conversation that she agreed to it and she didn't agree to it, and then Kanye kind of called her out, and there was a lot of backlash, and people were kind of coming at her. And then when the audio was released, everybody was kind of like, "Ooh, damn, Taylor's right." And she's kind of done things her own way for the most part and earned the right to do so. And I have a lot of respect for that. I have a lot of respect for her going in and re-recording her music, because that's something that a lot of people don't realize. When you first sign a record deal, you don't necessarily have the rights to all of your catalog. And your catalog is where a lot of your generational money keeps going. I mean, obviously this tour, the Eras tour, is going to net a few $1 billion when it's all said and done. But the rights to something you create is something that a lot of creators have to part with, at least for a while, because they're just not in the position to hold on to it if they want to see, some kind of returns. And when you're not making, Taylor obviously wasn't in this case, but when you're not making a ton of money and someone offers you, a few $1 million contract, maybe the rights to your songs aren't quite as important until down the road when you've had a bit of a career. Then you kind of want that stuff. So the whole issue she had with Scooter Braun and a lot of people, I respect the way she handled that. She got called out a lot for everybody she dated because she writes a song about them, which I totally understand because most artists write about things that happen in their life. But the thing that I loved about Taylor, and I'd seen it more than once, and this was cool because we got to meet up on a couple of her various tours, and we met her mom. And her mom does this thing where she takes everybody around the tour. She does this thing called the radio room, and then she does this thing called the vibe room, which you get to kind of chill backstage. And a lot of people always go, oh man, it must be so cool to be able to go backstage at a show. And I can go, sure, maybe, but there's not, anybody who's been backstage will tell you that there's not a whole hell of a lot going on back there. It's a lot of, hey, stay out of the people who are working's way. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. You get a very limited amount of time with said artist because they've usually got 100,000 things going on. So it's not this like absolute party that everybody might think it is. But sure, it provides stories like this. But anyway, back to Taylor's mom, who takes us around and talks and jokes with everybody and gives us a tour of the costumes and the stage and how everything works backstage. But the thing that I've noticed multiple times, and in fact it's been every time that I've had the opportunity to meet Taylor, she walks up and says hi to whoever's back there, whether it's me or whoever else that has similar jobs to me, introduces herself and says hi to us by name. And I don't care if someone handed her a piece of paper 30 seconds before she walked in and said this was the layout of the room, this is this person, this person, this person, and this person in order. The fact that she took the time to do that and say that speaks volumes, and it's pretty cool that she actually still cares enough to want to know that and to do that, because it just kind of makes you feel, oh cool, okay, she knew I was coming, even if, like I said, someone handed her a piece of paper 30 seconds before that. I also have in my office stuff, I have a couple of like handwritten cards from Taylor, which is pretty cool that she took the time to write thank you notes or send a Christmas card or a Valentine's Day card with her own signature on it. So it's interesting, and when the tours are over, a lot of times she used to send leftover merch to radio stations to give away. So a collection of Taylor Swift stuff that I have passed on to various people in my lives, because the Taylor Swift pink women's tee, it's not one we're rocking. I mean, even though if you look at some of these pictures, I definitely made some different fashion choices, although I was probably fashionably sensitive but too cool to care, I guess. But nonetheless, the show is amazing. Taylor is ridiculously talented, and it's kind of tough because when you're in country, people love you, but to cross over into the pop world, man, you get attacked from all sides. People want you to fail because it's a better story when something bad happens to you, and she's handled a lot of stuff with a lot of grace and a lot of dignity, and I think she is truly a class act where that is concerned. So if you are going to one of the shows this weekend, or she's coming to your town, it is definitely a spectacle. It is definitely a show that is probably worth the price of admission for sure. She genuinely is someone who cares, and you kind of find out the articles, like when the pandemic was going on, didn't do it for fame, didn't raise her hand and say, look what I did. She found various stories just from people around the world, around the country that were struggling. Like I remember one mom was struggling during the holidays, and Taylor donated 10 grand to the ladies' GoFundMe because she said no one should miss out on the holiday season because of bills and everything else. Hope this allows you to have a happy holiday. Didn't ask for a TV crew to come out and film her as to why she did it, but just little stuff like that she's done over the course of her career, and it's stuff like that I think makes the lasting impact, and that's probably why a lot of the reason why she has attained the level that she has attained. So, like I said, not a Swiftie, but definitely have some good things and nothing but good things to say about her. And as far as the celebrities that I've encountered, she will always be one of my favorites for a multitude of reasons. So that is my Taylor Swift story for today. And like I said, I've had glimpses with Taylor Swift. The company I used to work for had what we call the Club of 25, where the same 25 people get everything handed to them and go do this stuff all the time. The rest of us, kind of get some scraps thrown our way from time to time. But T Swift was definitely a good scrap to be thrown in the sense that it made a lasting impression, and she's one that I will always speak highly of. So enjoy the Eras Tour, enjoy Taylor Swift, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, wherever that might take you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. Give me a like, give me the follow, all that good stuff at the socials, which you can find linked here. And have yourself a fantastic evening. Go spend time with people you like, love, or tolerate, because time, it's limited. Get out of here.